Okay, so for section D, we're looking at applications of the unit circle, and we have 4 problems to do. Here's the first. And we're going to show you 2 methods how to solve a problem like this, the bow tie method and the algebraic method. So it says find exactly the possible values of cosine theta for sine theta equals 2/3. In other words, when sine theta equals 2/3, what is cosine? So let's go over what's called the bow tie method first. So this one. Alright, so what we're going to do is draw a triangle. And we know that theta is the angle there. Again, not that easy to draw accurately. And we know that of theta, sine is 2/3. And sine we know is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is 2 and the hypotenuse is 3. Now what that'll allow us to be able to say is what the other leg is, the leg down here. So let's do the Pythagorean theorem since that's a right triangle. We get 2 squared plus, let's call it x squared, equals 3 squared. And all we have to do is solve. We get the square root of 5. So one possible value now of cosine we can solve with SOHCAHTOA. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is root 5. Hypotenuse is 3. So our first answer is root 5 over 3. Now, sine being 2/3 can happen somewhere else as well. And this is why it's called the bow tie. So we can draw the rest of those triangles, and in each of them we could think of what sine being opposite over hypotenuse would be. So here we would have 2/3, and what we're going to actually do is look at cast. Up here in the question, we'll use a different color. Up here we're seeing that sine is positive. So if I looked down here, only cosine's positive, so I know I'm not there. Same thing over here, not it. So I know that sine will be positive in these 2 places. This first area is where I got my root 5 over 3, and now we can look here. If this is the same 2 and 3, it's the same right triangle, I'm going to get the same root 5, except this time it's negative, because I'm going to the left of the axis. So my second answer then is going to be negative root 5 over 3. Alright, that's the bow tie method. We'll practice that a few more times, and we'll practice it in next class as well. But for now, let's look at the algebraic method, and for this one you might find it easier. So it comes down to knowing that sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. And I know that sine is 2/3. So I have 2/3 squared plus cosine squared equals 1. So that's 4/9 plus cosine squared equals 1. And all we have to do is take 1 minus 4/9. That's going to give me 5/9 equals cosine squared. And then take the square root, and I get plus or minus root 5 over root 9, which of course is plus or minus root 5 over 3. It might seem easier at this point to use the algebraic method, but you'll see in the next couple of problems that it's not necessarily always the easiest, but it's a good option as well. Alright, we'll pick it up in the next video.